real comfortable.
Right?
So, tell me, how are you feeling today?
Delightful. We were joking because we have this couch here and he's going to lay out on it.
I actually might. For real.
You're really going to take a little rest there.
Hi, everybody.
So, how many Flash fans do we have out here today? Is that kind of still a kick and wild to hear people scream that when they hear the product you're associated with?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't like associate just myself with the Flash, though. I guess. I mean, just because not only it's Team Flash, but there's other Flashes out there.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool to get to be a part of it for sure. Yeah, it's pretty special.
So I'm going to take you back at different points a little further, but I'm going to start with your becoming the Flash. And it started as a 3-episode idea on the Arrow.
Yes.
With the idea of they often refer to as a backdoor pilot. So when you first got hired to do it, did that mean they were priming you for a series?
Yes, I knew when I auditioned that it was hopefully a spin-off of The Flash, but as you said, the pilot wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to be a standalone pilot. We were supposed to do, I did episode 8 and 9 of Arrow season 3.
2.
2, thank you.
I got you. I'm here for you.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I was supposed to come back for, I think it was episode 22 of season 2, which is the episode before the finale. But we did so well with the introduction of the character. They were like, let's make a pilot. So we made a pilot.
So what goes through your head as an actor when they say, that went well, let's do a pilot?
I mean, I guess I could have been a little more green, but I was about as green as it gets as far as working in the industry when I booked Flash. I'd never been a series regular on anything. I have still to this day like not much film work under my belt yet. So I mean, this is the coolest thing that could possibly happen to me. I mean, I grew up a huge fan of Christopher Reeve's Superman, specifically that version of him, and so yeah, to have all of you guys here to see, I detach myself from it a lot. It's me, because I think a lot of people have probably picked up just from, if they follow me on social media, I'm a relatively shy person, and it's, to get that I'm this guy, and get to be a part of this is, I don't believe it sometimes still.
Do you watch the show?
I used to watch the show more. I have a hard time watching myself. It's the biggest part that's tough. But I'm also a perfectionist, so watching it, it's hard to not just think about what I wish we could have done here, wish we could have done there. But I'm not watching it from the viewpoint of like you guys. I remember looking at it kind of like what I had for breakfast that day and how I was feeling, and what someone said to me before that take that I didn't love, or I just have a completely different perspective. So I still I watch special moments in the show, but I have a hard time watching myself.
Do you guys have a hard time watching him?
No.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that. So take me back as a child. Always wanted to perform? Was there something in you that was always putting yourself out there?
Yeah. I didn't really think, I do now. Now I'm an actor. It's what my career is and what I want to do with my life and what I'm doing with my life. But I was, I didn't think I want to be an actor when I grow up. When I was a kid, my mom, I think, saw it in me, and she's not a stage mom at all, and it's not someone that's ever pushed me to do things I didn't want to do, or wasn't, she was overbearing, but she saw in me that I would dress one day, first of all, I lived in a Superman outfit for years.
There's a few of them here today.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was pajamas that I threw on, red Fruit of the Looms over, because there was there's no underwear, that's weird. So I added the red underwear and red rain boots, and I lived like that for a while. And I mean, one time I have a picture, I didn't even remember this, but there's a picture at my mom's house of, I guess I went outside, I put I was gonna run away, a kind of weird, hobo kind of outfit on. I gave myself 5 o'clock shadow with her like eye makeup and like stood on the street with a stick and like something tied to the back of it, like it was my bag, and just like was like hitchhiking on our street in the back like neighbor. It was so weird. Like I was just a weird kid. And I played sports and stuff, but I like developed this obsession with Gene Kelly, specifically Singing in the Rain, and I watched it like, yeah, I mean, it will always be, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. And I watched it like every night for a while. So my mom, more or less.
How old are we talking?
Like 7 or 8. And my mom made me tap. Like I didn't want to do it because I'm shy. But she put me into it, and I loved it. And I was part of this like all boy, like so weird too. It was like all boy like Elvis tap group that we would tour around Norfolk, Virginia, my hometown. And like, really? There are people here from? All right. So we like did like Elvis numbers and like pleather and jeans and like, and my tap teacher got me into a community theater, the Hurrah Players, that she was part of. And I was there for like 5 years before high school, and I did like, seriously, like probably 45 to 50 shows in those 5 years. And I just had the bug, and like went to Performing Arts High School, and then went on to Elon University, where I was trying to get my BFA in musical theater. I say trying because I didn't finish. I left to start working. Yeah, that's kind of the
So, okay, a shy guy that does all of this, how do the two live within you?
People ask me that a lot, but it's also like, you know, I started in theater, and my goal wasn't, I want to be famous, and I want to be on TV, and I want to, you know, do this and do that. I did think, you know, someone that I looked at and thought was amazing was Hugh Jackman, and someone that I was like, I want to do theater and get myself out there and prove myself as that guy. And then go have a film career and then get, you know, do it. But it's just like, everything, you know, you can't plan your life or career like that. So it's just kind of happened the way it's happened. I've just kind of ridden the wave, and I'm getting more and more comfortable with this type of thing, and the idea that people will support my career and are following it. But it's, yeah, I don't know. This wasn't on like my dream board or something.
So, okay, if this isn't on your dream board, how do you get into West Side Story? You're going to have to be active to get that. They usually don't just say, hey, let's call this guy.
No. That was something I sought out aggressively, and that was my dream, was to be on Broadway, to do musical theater or straight plays or whatever. And I was pursuing my musical theater BFA at Elon University and in North Carolina, and I had a friend that told me, Adam Kaplan, who's actually a big Broadway guy now. I don't know if I'm sure some people know his name. I mean, he's been in Newsies and Kinky Boots and all kinds. Anyway, we were at school together, and the audition was happening in New York for the Broadway tour, and he said, you won't go. He said, you should go to this, but you won't go because you're too afraid. You won't go. He told me I was too afraid to go to the auditions, and that made me mad. So I went to the audition. And yeah, I got it. I mean, I was a sophomore at the time, and I was about to go do some summer theater work in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then Buffalo, New York. And while I was in Charlotte, I found out that I got it. I went and did my job in New York, and then from there I went to Manhattan and started rehearsals, and then went on tour for a year.
So at that point, you think, I've arrived. This is what I want.
Absolutely.
Any idea all the rest of this would follow?
No, I mean, Newsies was on Broadway at the time, and that was one of my favorite movies also when I was a kid. And I used to dream, when I started doing musical theater, like, damn, they'll put that on Broadway for sure someday, and I'm gonna be in that. So I'm doing West Side Story, and I'm like, those are the same, like, for sure, that all the guys in this will be in that. So I'm thinking, I'm going back to New York, like, I'm gonna be in Newsies for sure. And that's what was next for me, was just getting to New York and doing that or whatever it may be, and using some West Side Story credit to kind of help me get the next theater thing. And the way it kind of happened was I was performing West Side at the Pantages for 5 weeks in LA, and my manager, Robert Stein, that I'm still with, saw the show, and I was playing Baby John. It's not like I was like Tony or Riff or like, you know,
Or Maria.
Or Maria, or Anita. I was Baby John. And he saw something that he liked about me, and I didn't have an agent, I didn't have anything, I didn't have any way of contacting me. So he made a Facebook page and found me, and it was from the get-go, this is weird, like this is sketchy. But I was like, we're in LA, this guy, I went and met with him, and he's legit. Long story short, he's legit. He's been in the business for a long time, and I'm still with him, and he told me that he could kind of see me working in TV and film, and he saw something in me, and we started making tapes from the road, and I booked Glee like a week before I was supposed to finish. Yeah, and that was crazy. I had 12 shows left on my year-long contract, and I booked Glee, and an understudy went in, and they were really cool about it, and I left like 12 shows early to go to LA to start doing this, and I wasn't sure what I'd do next. I thought maybe I'd go back to the tour, or I'd go back to Elon and finish school. Yeah.
And it's true, you did your last West Side Story on Friday, and the following Monday you started.
I was filming. Yeah, I went to Robert's, my manager's place, and stayed for 2 nights until I found this other spot that I ended up living in for like a year or so. And I went to LA and I started working, and I was just like in LA. And a couple of times I thought I'd go to New York, but just things kept happening.
Well, it's funny because when you mention Glee and everyone screams out Glee and stuff, you really weren't in that many episodes,
7.
and it's frightening how few you were in.
7.
Yeah. And yet, don't you all think of him as like a regular character that was on?
No.
Sure, there's only 7. And actually, you did 8 on 90210, correct? 9. Oh, sorry, my count's out.
If I remember correctly. Yeah, because I always thought that was crazy. That I very rarely, I think 2 people today actually have been like, I'd love to do a 90210. That doesn't ever happen. So I did 9 of those, 7 of Glee.
And then how did Arrow come along in Flash?
At that point, I had done a few other things, like 90210 and 1 episode of CSI Miami, where I played twins. It was
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I forgot about
I got to see Caruso do his.
take off the glasses.
So that was cool, yeah, and I did it 1 independent film, I did a Lifetime movie.
Yes, you did.
A Mother's Nightmare, and boy was it a Lifetime movie. It was a lot of crime, it was a lot of drama. That was amazing, that was like acting camp, because I got to be like a lead with Jessica Lowndes in this movie, and it was what it is, but as an actor, I got to grow a lot doing that. It was awesome. And then I chilled for a long time. I could not get work. I thought once I was in LA and I was doing it, Glee was happening, and then this and then that, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And granted, I have now, but a year went by. It was 10 months, to a year. And then right before I booked it too, I was in a weird spot. I broke my arm horrifically, on a bike, came out. It was all so awful. And I was out of commission, wasn't auditioning, and Flash was the first thing that I went back and auditioned for, after that injury, and I hadn't worked in 10 months, and I was the first person they saw. It was Arrow, I guess, at the time, and it was just another audition. I didn't want to go because I didn't think I had any shot at getting it. In the breakdown, I was 22 or 23, 23, I guess. And he was described as 25 to 35. They were gonna make CSI Barry Allen.
Right.
And I thought for sure it's gonna be some buff blonde dude. And there was one there that's a good actor, Matt Barr. He was another guy that's done stuff for CW. And I took one look at that dude and I was like, that's over. But I didn't want to go because I had been in, I'd worked in a while. I'd kind of been in a spot where I mentally wasn't feeling good about myself. After that first audition, I got serious about it because David Rappaport, the casting director, was serious about me. And I got a call from David Nutter, who ended up directing it, telling me how much he cared, what he saw in me, and he helped me a lot. So I really quick got very serious about it, and it went on for like 5 or 6 weeks, the audition process, and we did a lot except for run. There was no one knew if we could run, if we looked terrible. There was not, but like, they put us through the ringer on that.
Yeah. We're going to open up the floor in a moment for questions from all of you. So if you have questions, good questions, you can line up in the center aisle there by the microphone. Remember, we'll only get to so many people. So if the line looks kind of long, don't waste your time standing up if you want to. But we'll try. We'll try and work our way through.
Oh, I didn't do this earlier.
You talk about that audition, and you said, you know, the blonde guy that's buff and all. What do you think it is they saw in you that said he can do it?
Well, I mean, I've seen Greg Berlanti and David Rappaport talk about it, and just that they saw just the heart of the character in there, whatever that means to them. Just, I mean, Greg just puts it simply that he just saw Barry Allen. I mean, I saw him like the next day at a party. And, I don't ever go to LA parties, but we were like going. It was like some, you know, typical like. I think it was like a WWE party or something, and it's an agency. And so we went to this party. Yeah, he was there, and I just booked it, and we were excited, and I was talking about it in the press line. And I remember him finding me at the party, and just like, he was with his friend of his, and just being like, doesn't he look, just like, he was like, look, on my chin, and he's like, Barry Allen.
It's like 30 people in all
Still to this
places.
day, I feel that way about myself, but the right person feels that way about me, so.
Thank God he did that, because when I greeted you backstage and did that to your face, now I don't
Yeah, it wasn't weird.
Oh my God! Once you found out that it was going your way, and you were getting serious about it, usually an actor, if it's based on some source material, will go back and read the novel. What did you do to prep?
I went to the New 52 because it was new at the time. Yeah, and I read a lot. I mean, actually, first I was like, I'm going to read it all. I'm going to read it all. Yeah, then I was like, oh, I'm not going to read it all. But I did, like, I read like a lot of different, you know, eras of the character, but New 52 for sure. When I was auditioning for it, kind of the illustrations, I think, were the thing that really kind of jumped off the page for me. And like, I mean, the stories were great too, but I don't know, yeah, that was the comic that I kind of dove into and was reading throughout the audition process.
Did you ever look at the suit and say, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
I mean, that was one of the reasons I didn't want to go to the audition. It's like, I put the idea of putting on a superhero suit. I mean, I have had to wear like tights in musicals in the past, and like I took, you know, ballet class for years, and they require you to wear tights, and just being in a room with 10 people, I'm like embarrassed of like my chicken legs. I'm like looking around like, oh my God. So I didn't know what the suit was going to be, or, you know, if I was going to just look really, because we can all agree I'm a thin guy, and I don't know what these long like spaghetti legs are going to look like in the suit. It ended up looking aight, but I was nervous about it.
I liked when I came backstage a few minutes ago, they said to me, oh, are you the moderator? And I thought, are you getting me confused with him? There's obviously a difference here. I'm not the guest. But you got over that fear of that suit. And they got a cool suit, too.
Yeah, Colleen Atwood, who's an Oscar-winning costume designer, originally designed the suit. So upon meeting her, I was kind of right away like, okay, I'm gonna be fine. But yeah, and there've been a lot of different, and there will be more different versions of the suit, going forward. So yeah.
And the last thing I'm going to ask you about is intimidating, fun, interesting to work with your father on the show. Had done The Flash almost 30 years.
30, yeah, because it was I'm 29, and it was the year I was born. So yeah, it was that series was the year I was born, and he's from the same city I was born in.
And we're talking about John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, John Wesley Shipp, who played Henry Allen on our show, and Jay Garrick.
I don't know.
It's super confusing, but The Flash back in 1990. Yeah, from the same city, born in the same city. The series was the year I was born, and his birthday is 6 days or exactly a week after mine or something. Really weird. Like,
almost like the Kennedy, Lincoln, Penny
for
comedy.
real. Like when I found all this out, I was still auditioning, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. for real. I was just like, it's destiny.
But we're going to find out if destiny is working in your favor right now, because we're going to go out for questions. I do want to warn you folks asking the questions, sometimes the reverb off the speakers is hard for us to actually hear you. So be as clear as you can, and let's hear our first question. First, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is D'Adrian. Earlier, I got to go to the John panel.
Yeah.
And from him, we kind of heard that you get really excited when you find out certain things about the show. When you saw him in the original Flash suit, you got jumped around, we heard. And I was wondering, what is the thing you got the most excited about?
The thing, as you were asking the question that popped into my head that I remember vividly from when I was shooting season 1, and I remember reading the script and losing my mind, was episode 115, which is when the tsunami is coming for Central City and Barry accidentally time travels for the first time. Like, I remember explaining that to my brother, like it just being like jacked up. So probably that's the thing. I mean, there's been a lot of things, but that was the thing from season 1 that sticks out.
Thank you. A side question to that. You've got, anyone I think would agree, a rather complicated storyline through the series.
Yeah.
With multiple timelines and double Earths and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That in conjunction with having to do guest appearances on other shows and them coming into your shows, are you ever going out there and doing a scene and have no idea what's surrounding you?
No. I mean, it gets confusing for sure, but I feel like the way for me to track it is like worrying about me. So if any good acting teacher tells you when I'm doing just my show, when we go do the crossovers, what's important to me is where am I coming from and where am I going to? Like, that's all I need to know for that scene. And if I understand that, then I'm good.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi.
First name.
Oh, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
So there's a lot of like emotional scenes in The Flash. I was wondering which one stood out to you and how you made it look so real?
I mean, not to keep going back to season 1, but probably still my favorite episode is the finale of season 1. And we had built to that moment for so long, and that was another moment that I remember talking about a lot before we got to it. And I'm talking about when Barry goes back and he's with his mom in the past as she dies. And I've not lost a parent. I haven't lost anyone other than grandparents that are part of my family. But that was so real to me, and I don't know why. It's still, I have a hard time actually talking about it. Whenever we do that storyline, whenever we go back and we visit that, it still messes with me the same. The night after we shot it, I remember being at home in the shower after a long day, not to give you that picture, but
they're all imagining it right
but
now.
I inexplicably just was bawling still, in the shower, because it was so real to me, and I still hold on to that for whatever reason. That is a very real person in my life that I lost, and that I had to watch lose. For whatever reason, that moment it's real to me.
I've heard you talk a little bit about having to do on a shoot on the schedule you're supposed to shoot on, that it's hard to have the time as an actor to really get to invest and prepare for each scene, because you guys are shooting so quick and there's so much that has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I always do everything I can do to prepare. I mean, I know when I show up, I've covered all my bases, but it is, the acting is second fiddle to a lot of stuff in TV, especially a TV show with so many effects like this, and you have guest directors, rotating DPs, the director of photography, rotating first ADs. So, yeah, but people just kind of expect us to take care of ourselves, and there's not a lot of attention and care that goes into the acting process. I mean, some directors are better about it than others, but it's just the nature of the TV, because they have 8 days, that's it, they're not going to get more, they have to get it done. If they don't get it done, it's their fault, they're not going to come back and direct, So it's they've got to make their days, so we kind of have to worry about ourselves.
I think part of what works on your show so well is the writing is so good, so that the time you have with it, you can get into that emotion and feel those things, and it comes alive for you. Next question. Oh, hello. Hi.
My name is Addison. I'm here for my birthday weekend.
Happy birthday.
Aww.
question is, what was the process of becoming Savitar?
Yeah, good question. I wish we had done more with Savitar, actually. Like, I wish, because we teased him for a long time, and he was just that suit for a while, and I didn't know, right when we started with Savitar, that it was me. They didn't tell me right out of the gates, because I don't think, they don't always know. They kind of develop these things on the fly all of them. I mean, when Rick Cosnet was cast, who played Eddie, he was cast as Jay Garrick. That was supposed to be the twist. He was going to be Jay Garrick, but they changed it. Anyway, side note. Yeah, it was, I just remember them wanting to do more with it when we were done. Once we introduced me, I think I had 2, maybe 3 episodes as Savitar. So yeah, I mean, I just hope we can come back to it, because there really wasn't, sadly, a lot of like process, because his backstory was Barry's backstory, you know, which made it kind of, once they told me what it was just, you know, this is what explaining Savitar is like the most confusing character in the show. His backstory was Barry's backstory though, but then he felt abandoned by himself and the Team Flash, so he became, you know, this pizza face guy. And it was a lot of it, yeah, the makeup took a while, and then I had that eye contact that I'd never worn contacts before. It was this white, milky contact, and like I couldn't see. So like the hair and makeup process is like the toughest thing I've done on the show. So that was the process, was the hair and makeup process. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Hi, Grant.
Hi.
My name's Kathleen. I'm a huge fan of the show and how you portray this character. I read the comics. I love it so much. But not only that, I'm a big fan of the way you sing. I was wondering...
Oh, here we go.
This was not...
Someone asked me in the photograph line if I would sing if I was asked, and I was like, and I said, no, I'm too shy. I've been asked to sing at these things before, but God, I'm so shy, you guys. There's just no way you're gonna make me sing.
I'm not sure if I should help you out or
No
make you
way
out right now.
you're gonna make me
It's
sing.
okay. I do...
How can you sing happy birthday to the girls?
There's just no.
I do have a gift for you and your wife. I'm actually a really big fan. I'm an occupational therapist,
Oh, cool.
and I love, you know, I'm a big fitness enthusiast
Yeah, cool.
too. And I wanted to give it to you. Here we go.
Oh, it's my dogs, you guys, and like really cool head. Wait, the camera. I have this little. Where's the... Is it on the screen? Okay, cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Sorry
much. Well, that's sweet.
It's really sweet. Do the slide. It's carpet.
Why don't we move on to the next question? I
They
gotta
want
wait
to do
for
the slide from Glee.
It's Captain Cole again.
Yeah, Captain Cole.
What's up?
Can I have a hug too then?
Sure.
My question is, you don't have to be biased about Captain Cold, but like, who's your favorite Flash villain?
Yeah, no, Captain Cold's on the list. I've been asked that. Ask the people that ask me today. They'll vouch for me. It's Reverse Flash for sure. Zoom, just the way we did it on our show, like Enter Zoom is I think one of the coolest, scariest episodes. That's when he like has Barry and he's like slamming him and I'm just like a ragdoll. Like that was awesome. Because we shot that for real. It's really mean. They put me on the wire and he like lifted me up and I just had to like. So that was fun. But then I say also Captain Cole, but he turns out to be a friend. I don't really see him as a villain.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll
Thank you.
That hug if you want.
Yeah, all right, come here.
Nobody ever wants to.
I'm not going to be able to hug everyone. Just so you know. Not everyone.
You were talking too, I've seen you talk about the special effects and the rigging and all that, and not having as much padding on your hips as some of us have, and that can be a bit much after a while.
Yeah, no, I'm a bony guy, yeah. So this was, we used to, like harnesses in general just suck for anyone, but yeah, if you're bony, it's like, that's another factor. Like, you're like, clear my hips. But yeah, harnesses are not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, my name's Mike from Chicago.
Hey, Mike.
From Chicago, that's a good one. Mike from Chicago. I've always kind of wondered this about filming a superhero show. Obviously, when you guys are actually filming, you know, people aren't shooting lightning and ice and stuff out of their hands. You know, there's no tornadoes being spun. So is it difficult to react to what is going to be put in later?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is because if it's not explained properly, I ask a lot of questions on set. If it's just me, like when we're doing these special effects scenes, I ask a lot of questions because I want to understand. And when it's just me, like it's fine because I can just I can react to whatever I want to react to. But it's when multiple people have to see the same thing is when it gets tough, and the timing because it's not happening, and understanding what it is and where it is. So a director really has to paint that picture for us. So when we're on set, all the questions I'm asking are about, you know, painting that picture and like what's there, what's here, what's happening to us. So it can be tough, but I love it. That was my favorite part of the show, when we started season 1, just green screen stuff, because it's just like, you think it's the toughest part, but it's like, it's just the same thing as like playing like make-believe by yourself at home, you know? So, I mean, for real, you're like, oh, imagine it all, cool. So, it's tough, but it's also not at the same time.
People